quite sensational.
Exciting to announce that I've re-signed with the Crusaders and New Zealand Rugby through to 2027. Yeah, great to have a bit of security and long-term looked in, and looking forward to continue to grow as a player here in New Zealand. I think for me there's obviously the team goal is obviously a World Cup this year, and re-signing through to 27 offers up the opportunity to go to another one. But I think, particularly with the journey the All Blacks have been over the last 2 or 3 years, there's been some challenges during it. So to be part of a team that can maybe come out the other side of that and really build on some of the successes we've had excites me. That's a big one, and obviously the Crusaders as well.
Will Jordan, almost through. He is through. Will Jordan, what a try that is.
He is absolutely magic, isn't he? Tēnā koutou katoa, good evening. Welcome into the breakdown. Exclusive news today that Will Jordan has re-signed with New Zealand Rugby for the next 4 years. Wayne Smith is not retired yet. He'll rejoin the All Blacks camp. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. And a magical weekend for John Arfour, who is now a Crusaders man. Can you believe it? Jeff Wilson, Sir John Kirwan, Mills Muliaina, welcome back to the breakdown. You had the privilege of sitting down with Will Jordan to explain this news. What was that like? What did you take out of the conversation?
4 years is what I took out of the conversations. That's what I took out of it. The fact, not just for this Rugby World Cup, for the next Rugby World Cup, Sir John Kirwan. And look, it's easy to forget because we haven't seen a lot of Will Jordan in the last 12 months, Mills, JK, Kirsty, but this guy's a game changer. He's a game breaker. He makes any team better, and we've already seen this season, just on the back of 2 performances with the Crusaders, how impactful he can be. This is great news. You add it to what we've seen out of Rieko Ioane. I tell you what we've got to do now. We've got to give him the keys to the car, and we've got to get him out there and play him every game in an All Black jersey. We connect him to Damien McKenzie, we connect him to Richie Mo'unga and Beauden Barrett and Mark Talia, because we know how good he's been, and all of a sudden we can beat teams and beat them with our attacking game, Mills, because that's how we win World Cups.
What position though?
Doesn't matter whether it's wing or fullback, I don't care. He has to be on the field.
Surely he's your starting All Blacks fullback.
Well, what I love about it is what he said. You know, he came out and he's obviously had some setbacks with injuries, but he's come back and it's almost like he hasn't had those injuries. You know, the way he's been playing is fantastic. And that's probably, you know, affected his decision as well to go on, not just, you know, for the next 4 years and not just 2.
What did you ask? Answer the question.
Yeah, I was going to say
I get in trouble for that all the time.
Is he your starting All Blacks fullback?
No, I'm not ready to pick my starting 15 yet. Okay. I'm not ready. I'm not ready until the finals. Finals football.
Thank you, JK. Thank you.
You should have asked him then.
How old is he?
Young.
Young?
Yeah, that's what I like. I think that the contracts that are coming out, I really like. I think we've got pretty exciting guys who are staying, who are what I call mid-experienced All Blacks. Look, I think Bodie's not playing at the moment. If I was picking the top 15 tomorrow, you'd have to play Jordan. He's back on the field and he's exciting. World Cup comes along, I think it's between him and Beauden for sure. But right now, Beauden not playing, you've got to say if you've got to pick it today, he's in.
No, I've got Beauden Barrett starting at fullback, I have, and I've got Will Jordan on one wing and I've got Mark Talia on the other. There's my back 3, but what we have to do...
But you keep saying you don't want to play people out of position.
No, and I'm not playing him out of position. He can well and truly do the job, but more importantly for me, these guys need to get touches. Not 2, 3, 4 touches in games. They've got to touch the ball 10 times. We saw Mark Talia on the weekend.
That's exactly what he did, didn't he?
Touched it how many times?
Yeah.
How many tries did he score?
4.
Yeah. Touched it 4 times and scored 4 tries, and that's why he is our Musashi Power Player of the weekend. 4 tries in 80 minutes, Mills. You've done it before. This guy's sensational.
Well, he made this look easy. 3 defenders, I mean, standing start. Admittedly, a couple of guys went too high, but his ability to get up in the air as well and chase kicks. This is what I love about him, you know. He senses where they are and he gets in a really good position to get a bit of height. And watch this here.
Makes people look silly.
Left foot step, 4 guys, see you later. Over he goes.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I spoke to someone in the Blues and they said he can stop and restart the fastest as anyone in the team. And you can see that when that's happening. I mean, it was a bit of a comedy at times, what was happening, but here, his acceleration, I think what I said last night is, I was surprised last November, Goldie, we're in the Northern Hemisphere following them. I expected to see Talia as a slight, fast man. What I saw was actually this powerful athlete. And I think when you see him, his speed is deceiving. The ability for him to stop on a dime is deceiving, but also his strength. And I think he's worked hard on that. So for me, he is the full package at the moment.
This is games like that and the conditions is when you notice guys and how powerful they are, because your leg drive is really important when you're out in the wings, because you don't want to get knocked backwards. He showed his power, and man, that's standing start and the speed and the skill.
Not to be outdone, yes, you've scored 4 tries in a game for the Blues. You've scored 8 tries in a game, haven't you, JK?
Ranfurly Shield. North Otago.
You were losing after 3 or 4 minutes, though. They had your number.
Yeah,
The first 3 or 4
my wing
minutes.
as well. That's why I was.
Was it your wing?
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me, God.
I remember it vividly. I remember it because I remember the commentator at the time. This could be the biggest upset in Ranfurly Shield history. And what happened? You guys won 100 and
something like that.
to
4 tries.
to
there.
4. It was 1 try.
You've scored 5 in a game as well, Jeff.
Yeah, Fiji at Albany Stadium. Actually, funnily enough, at the time, Mark Ellis holds the record for 6 tries in a Test match. He got that in 1995. He was at that game in the stand, yelling at the guys not to pass me the ball, or the coaches to sub me off. And I didn't get another touch for the last 20 minutes.
No way.
Yeah. That's all right. It's all right, Mertz, I forgive you. No problems.
Well, to go back to Mark Talia, you said you're picking him on the left wing for you.
Right wing.
He's on the right wing.
Yep.
Is he on the right wing starting for the All Blacks right now?
Yes.
So how do all these guys fit in the picture then? If you're saying he's on the right wing, where do you play Will Jordan? Where do you play Beauden Barrett? Where does Damien McKenzie fit into the mix? What is your back three looking like?
Pretty tough positions to pick, and that's what I mean. I'm not really. I mean, I might still love to see Beauden out there, like at fullback. I think Jordan, you definitely, regardless of where his name goes on first. But I'd love to see Beauden Barrett out the back, Talia on the other wing. I've got no doubt we've got guys that are world beaters. It's just how we're going to play. You know, how are we going to play? Man, our talent, and there's no doubt in my mind that we've got the talent. It's just how we're going to play this game.
Good
JK,
problems to have.
I'll ask you this though. I don't think we can beat South Africa at their game. We can't beat Ireland the way that they play. We don't play like other sides. We don't play like France. We have to have our own style and how we win games. And I just look at the group and go, you know what? I think we've got to be courageous. We've got to have the ability and willingness to play with the ball. And like I said, we've got to get the ball into the hands of our guys who can break open a game, who can keep the ball alive, and you give them a licence to play, the freedom to play. If we do that, we'll maximise our talent and take it away from the opposition. Because I think if we try and defend our way to a Rugby World Cup, I don't think we win.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit worried about the fitness as well, and I don't think it's anyone's fault. I just think that it's such an anaerobic game. When you see the boys after 7 or 8 rucks, they're really blowing. So that's probably too late to do. I'm worried about the predictability of our pods. I saw the Hurricanes last night go through 12 phases, quite predictable, defence just getting up and bashing them till the ball got knocked out. So, you know, for me, I don't disagree. Do we look at a bit more wide type game? I know we've got to earn the right up front. I mean, if you saw the European Cup final, that was brutal in the second half. The French have some big power forwards, so the best thing to do with them is to run them around. But I'm confident, we've got to be confident that the current coaching staff have kept some of those things up their sleeve, and we're going to bring them out. When you think about wide, what you spoke about, good question, Kirsty, and I'll ask it. So Barrett, Jordan, Talia at the moment on form. You know, you probably put Jordan there because Barrett's not playing. You might add someone else in there. Fa'anuku, you probably can't go past at the moment. Are they going to take him?
Are they going to take him?
They're good problems to have. Now, if you go back, there's another question that I'll pose to you guys. Are we going to take experts in their position, or are we going to continue to take guys that can cover a couple of positions? And I think that's something that the selecting...
Who have you got doubts in then? Who have you got doubts about not being an expert in their position?
Well, for me, it's probably... What are you going to do at first 5? So you take Moanga.
Yeah, but Barrett's an expert first 5. He was first 5 for the All Blacks. So how many tests?
Okay, he's also an expert fullback. But you go, we're not going to take him as a first 5. We're going to take him as a fullback. So you take Moanga and you take
McKenzie.
Totally.
You don't think McKenzie? So I think it's comfortable. We've got so much versatility, but it's not to say that they're not experts in their positions. I don't have any issues with that. I mean, the one thing is...
specialists then, maybe not
absolutely
experts.
Specialists. I mean, Lester Fainga'anuku is a prime example for me. Now there's the rumours he's going to France. That shouldn't affect his selection for the All Blacks this year.
Why
his
not?
form shows it. Because, bottom line, he's playing and he's eligible. And
Him or Talia.
I don't need to. I can fit both of them in the squad.
But we can't.
You
can't.
Yes, we can.
You can't.
100% we
can't.
can. There's plenty of space. He's versatile, Mills.
You've got to put
He's got
Bryce
the
Heem
ability
in.
to come-
He was playing centre in
the
this
Bryce
game.
Heem just got a mention.
Yeah,
I knew
here he
Bryce
goes.
Heem was
There
going to
he
get a
goes.
mention, but I'm
Lisa's
sorry.
at
But
centre here.
Yeah, but he's at
That's right.
centre here. That's the versatility we're talking about. But there's guys.
Narera.
Marawa, there's room for him as well. There's a number of guys.
Well, you're just not taking any forwards, mate. I like it. That's why we invented
exactly.
sevens.
That's why they invented sevens. I love that
Exactly.
saying. I look at this. I want guys who can keep the ball alive. Who can keep the ball in play. Talia does that. Fainga'anuku does that. Will Jordan does that. David Havili does that. The skill set in that. I don't want people dying with the ball.
Get back to answering the mixed question.
What do you mean the mix?
We get that. I think someone has to miss out.
Who has to miss out then?
I don't know. I didn't know. I'm asking Goldie.
Well, look, there are a number of players who have been in the All Black jersey, and you would have to say honestly that Caleb Clark right now, is he playing better than the other players we've talked
That's the
about?
question you've got to
He has
ask,
to
right?
prove
He's signed.
and earn. Yeah, I know he's signed. There's no issue with that. But so has Lester
So my
Fainga'anuku for
question
this
was,
season.
if Caleb Clark and Fainga'anuku are playing the same type of rugby, do you take
They don't play the
contracted
same
player?
game.
I think if you look at the two players and the makeup of the squad, Fainga'anuku goes because Caleb only plays on the wing.
So you're not worried that he's going to France?
No, I think you pick the best player. You pick the best
No,
player.
just a question. It's an
in terms
interesting
of-
one.
It doesn't matter whether he's going overseas or not. You know, if you look back and go, is Dan Carter going overseas after the Rugby World Cup? Well, you'd still pick him. This is a similar situation where if he's the best player, you pick him.
You're always asking us to be professional. Be professional. He's a contracted player to New Zealand Rugby.
I said if they're
performing-
both the same. I said if you think they're both the same from a selection point of view. If you think that one player's way better, easy. But if two players are equal, you're thinking, okay.
Different players.
Right?
Are they equal for you right now, JK? Caleb Clark and Lester Fainga'anuku?
I think Leicester's playing better.
Right, there's your answer. You can keep debating this, but the Rugby Championship squad, as we're being told, will be 36 players, so 3 more than the Rugby World Cup squad. We've taken a look at it and thought, what are the positions that potentially they'll take an extra man in? Mills, for you, what is it? Where do they need to see a few extras?
Well, I think props are our biggest issue at the moment, you know, given the injuries that the Crusaders have sort of faced. I've gone all 6, you know, six props. I've gone 4 on the locks because I think we bolster up that sort of Lucy department. You have a couple of Lucy. Blackadder for me still goes. I know he's been injured. I think he goes, but I'll go back to the props. I think Lomax, De Groot, Ross, Williams, Ainsley, I think has had a big shift this year for the Highlanders. You know, for a team that's been struggling, his scrummaging has been pretty outstanding. And then you've got the likes of Ofa Tuingafasi, Moody's. We think he might be back. 8 weeks is a pretty long time. Lolala and obviously Angus. Those guys will probably be, for me, will fight out the last spot in the 6. 3 hookers. I'm sure you guys would all agree with the 3 hookers. And then...
Hang on.
You take
3,
4
no,
hookers,
actually,
JK.
So tell me your third.
Oh, yeah, I've bracketed.
You can't have a bracket in a squad when they name a team.
Well, you know, Coles has been out for a long time, so I would have had Almore. And last night, I think his line-outs probably let him down, and that's where I'm like, man. So I'm a little bit iffy there at the moment. So Tokiaho and Taylor at the moment, for me, definite.
The line-out thing is a real challenge for me. When you look at line-outs that are failing and not quite working, there's so many pieces of the puzzle
Yeah,
here.
you're right, yeah.
It's calling, it's lifting, it's jumping. It's not the responsibility. And I think they lost their way, and he suffered because of that, because all of a sudden, I think Asafa was almost second-guessing his own throws. And he's actually looking at it going, they've got that covered. And that happened down in Dunedin as well.
So
for the
would you
Highlanders.
take him?
I
Would you
get
take him?
that, Goldie.
But-
I get that, Goldie. But the selectors will go, can we trust him under pressure? And they have to answer yes or no. Can you trust Dane Coles under pressure? Yes.
Yep.
Can we trust Amor right now? And I don't know whether they think like this, but after last night, there's a massive question mark, and they'll have to ask themselves those questions. hard.
Loose forwards is another one, right, Kirsty? Massively.
Yeah. Our Gillette head-to-head for today is the Chiefs number 8 against the Blues number 8. Hoskins Sotutu against Luke Jacobson. Can you take both of these players, Jeff? You've got the man with all style against the hard worker. Look at Luke Jacobson's stats over 80 minutes.
Yes, I can, because they're both playing and they're both out there performing, and I'm going to pick players who are playing.
So
I'm picking both of these
and you're
guys.
dropping
And Jacobson, and at the moment, Ethan Blackadder, I haven't seen him out on the field, and I haven't seen him doing and dominating like he's done in the past. This guy's going out there and showing some really nice touches, and at the moment, our options at number 8 are a little bit limited. They are limited. It's Ardie Savea, it'll be Hoskins or this, and he's so much better than people think. The versatility for me, Mills, JK, is this an area you've gone with a lot of players though, JK? Going,
I've taken him as a 7.
Jacobson?
Yep.
So who's...
No,
I've got Savea and Sotutu.
So you've got no Sam Cane?
I've got Sam Cane, Papali'i and Jacobson.
And so Ardie's not... OK, so he's...
Ardie's number 8.
No, it's number 8. Flat?
Number 8.
Who's your blind
Sotutu,
side?
Papali'i, Cane, Jacobson, done.
Who's your blind side?
Barrett.
Barrett and more Barrett, right?
So, that is... yeah.
No, but I'm with you.
I've got Barrett as a 6, which opens up the lock discussion, right? Because I think against the big sides in France, you're going to really look at Barrett.
Yep.
Right? And you're looking at someone like Akira coming on late when they're tired, and he can bring his bit of X factor.
Has Akira Ioane done enough since he's returned to go over the top of Shannon Frizzell?
Well, they're
He's
in
had
there.
to play lock.
I mean, we're not talking about... We're talking about the 36. We're not talking about starting, right?
Yes.
So I've written Barrett down.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I've written Barrett down at 6.
Here's another suggestion for a prop. If we get desperate, which the Crusaders, they got desperate over the weekend, and Scott Robertson called up France. John Arfour, who's a capped All Black, won a Rugby World Cup and a Super Rugby Centurion with the Blues, made his debut for the Crusaders over the weekend. Here's how it happened.
John, a lot of people didn't think they'd see you playing rugby back in New Zealand, let alone for the Crusaders. Did you get a bit of stick heading into this game?
Oh, no, because I didn't tell anyone. I wasn't too sure what was going on. It was all like a real late call-up. Obviously, I had to get my release from France and then come here, and I don't think I got it sorted till last night. So, no, I was just happy to be back, you know. Like, when they said, you want to come play, you know, it was hard not to say. It was hard not to say no, you know what I mean? Love coming back to New Zealand, and it was just a great night for me.
When you got the late call to actually play today, was there a moment of just disbelief?
Oh, to be honest, I was a little bit hungover because we finished our season in France, and I woke up and there was like 10 missed calls, and I was like, whoa, what have I done? And obviously they said, oh, look, they need cover again. I was like, why not? You know what I mean?
How long are you sticking around for in New Zealand?
No, this is me. You know, I'll be back in New Zealand for the rest of the year, and then I'll hopefully run around ITM Cup, so sorting that out. But, you know, it's just nice to be back for sure.
And did you know that today was your 496th first-class game? Does that blow your mind?
Oh, yeah, everything blows my mind, you know what I mean? When they said I was starting, that blew my mind. When they said I had to play 50, that blew my mind. So, you know, it's enjoyable, you know what I mean? And I'm just glad the guys looked after me. It's been a great 2 days, and, you know, hopefully we have a nice rest of the season.
We're really looking forward to seeing you still playing here on New Zealand soil.
No, thank you very much. It's been great. Cheers.
50 minutes for a guy that literally landed from France on Thursday. No boots and no size 15 in Rebel Sport. For two Bluesmans, do you feel a bit sick seeing him in the red and black, Mills?
That jersey doesn't quite suit him.
It does not suit him. He's going to be getting a lot of stick from his former teammates, I tell you that.
Yeah, I'm on a WhatsApp with a whole lot of ex-Blues guys, and they're blowing up. But we're just really happy for him. It's an amazing story. I love a good story, right? Yeah. That's why I've written Bryce Heem down, because I'm a romantic. I love a story like that. I think it's beautiful. And good on him, like 39, he looks incredibly well. He wants to finish here in New Zealand. I think it's, you know, he's talking about doing ITM, so how good?
It was awesome. It was great. I mean, anytime someone can come and do that, the fact they didn't have to train during the week, perfect as well, probably. You know, they gave him a couple of calls. He was asked to go out and do a job. And he's a professional, clearly looked after himself.
You reckon he turned left?
What's that?
Reckon he turned left on the plane?
He certainly
always
up front.
turn left.
Yeah. You're not getting on that plane if you're a little bit hung like he said he was, and he's got a game in front of him. But I mean, I think that's a really good indication about how important it is you keep track of players.
Yeah.
And if Lester Whanganuku does go to France, we keep track of him for the next 2 years. We watch him play and we go, you know what? Let's put some value in what he's doing.
I've got no issues with him.
No, what I'm saying is to get him back.
Yeah, no, but
get these
for
guys
me, it's
back
just like the
play.
sabbatical. The only thing, this McKenzie thing, like, you had to explain it to me 3 times, Mills. Like, the difference between a sabbatical and going away for 2 years. The trouble is no one's actually made the transition back, have they?
Well, Damien
from
has.
European. No,
not from Europe.
Not from Europe. They get over there, they get the big dollars, and they think, I'm going to go back to New Zealand and risk it.
But the game's
€500,000
changed.
euro.
The game's changed.
I think Europe's getting a bit closer to the way that we've been playing. But I think in the past it's been totally different. You know, it's been a physical. The weather's dictated things over there in terms of. You know, you're mauling and you're being more physical at the breakdown, whereas they've come to the party now and they've actually got to expose themselves.
Mills, I'm talking about the cash, mate. I'm not talking about the cash. I'm actually not talking about...
That's getting bigger too, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who's going to be earning, and this is all rumours, you know, north of €500,000, right?
3 times what I get here.
Yeah. Like, it's going to be pretty hard. He's going to be 26, 27 and going... You know, I've got another 6 or 7 years of that sort of money. He sets himself up for life. It's pretty hard to come back, isn't it?
Not if we change the ceiling in 2 years' time. And in fact, if we see his value, we've got to keep track of what he's doing. And if he ends up being the guy that can change the course and be that player for the All Blacks, that's when you pay the money and you bring him back. And he might, at that point,
I just don't think
he'll feel more comfortable.
Isn't it then the onus is on the commercial side of New Zealand rugby to make sure we're making funds to be able to raise the ceiling? And that's their goal now. That surely must be the way ahead.
Genuine question about Bryce Heem. He is a player that went across to Europe and has come back a better player. Does he make the All Blacks 36, JK? Is he in the conversation? Are they talking about this geriatric, as he calls himself? Is there space for someone like this?
Oh, well, look, I think if you think about the style of play, go back to what Goldie said, the style of play we want. He is an incredibly big man who gets over the advantage line. He's got a little kicking game, as you can see there, which Goldie's getting excited about.
Yeah, I am.
And so, look, at his age, it'd be a beautiful, romantic story. The reality, I don't know if there's space for him.
If we lost a midfielder, if we lost an Anton Leonard-Brown or a Rico Ioane, I would have no issue with this guy coming in and doing a job for us. That kick was the smartest play of the game because the game was still in the balance. That's the 4th try for Mark Talia. But forget all of that. There was only a couple of minutes to go in the game. It was within 7 points. The Blues were still playing rugby. They'd made 2 errors and conceded a try. That kick put them in the corner, whether it went out or not, that was the smartest thing that was done all day. This is experience, that's IQ, that's understanding the consequences of making good decisions in a game. I was really impressed. We should be impressed. He's fit, he's strong, he's big, powerful, love him.
And we often go on about what's success. Successful guys going overseas or All Blacks and then coming back. These guys that come in like Bryce Heem, why that is success. You know, guys coming back from that and playing the way he is. I think we should really, hold on to that and see if guys come back. Milani Nano's come back as well. He hasn't had an opportunity, but I think there's a core group of guys that could easily come back and play Super Rugby, which is fantastic to see.
Well, someone that we don't have to worry about going offshore just yet anyway. That is the exclusive news about Will Jordan staying on right here with New Zealand Rugby, the All Blacks, the Crusaders and Tasman for the next 4 years. Jeff went down to Christchurch earlier in the week and caught up with him.
I think a big thing for me has always been around just trying to maximise your sort of talent or ability. I love being able to go out there on a Friday or a Saturday and be able to showcase your talent. So that was a big thing for me around having got a bit of a taste of particularly the international scene, wanting to sort of explore that a bit further and see where I could get to there. So that's what excites me about being out here on the pitch with the boys, really enjoying my rugby and, yeah, just trying to maximise what I can get out of myself.
Has being a professional rugby player what you thought it would be?
Yeah, I think so.
You're not sure?
No, I think there's, it's hard to know what to expect. I think there's definitely, ups and downs to it. I've had some great times over the last 6 years. There's also been some really challenging times as well. So I think as you sort of start to understand yourself a bit more, your processes and what it takes to kind of get yourself to your best, you learn a lot about yourself. I think when I came into this environment as a 19-year-old, I was certainly a different person than I am now. So it's cool to be able to see the growth you can get in this environment, and definitely what I've learned about rugby is it teaches you a lot of stuff off the field as well. It's not just about the on-field things. So you're definitely growing as a person in this space.
When you look at yourself as an All Black, what number do you want to have on your back?
I think, 15 is probably the dream of mine, to be fair. I think it's a position where I've played most of my rugby, and it's where I feel I can be most involved, which I enjoyed, the ability to be able to kind of roam over the field and pick your spots. I think having played wing at the international level over the last few years, it's been a great challenge and something I've enjoyed. And like you say, it's a pretty common path for guys to go in between that fullback and wing spot, whether it's been yourself or guys like Izzy Dagg, Ben Smith. So, yeah, it's all part of it. And I think the main thing is, wherever you're out in the field, it's about trying to maximise out and play as well as you can, I think.
Do you think the legacy of the All Blacks is still as powerful as a motivator as it was for the players?
Yeah, guys definitely still hugely pumped to make the team. I think you've seen that throughout Super Rugby this year with guys who have both been All Blacks and who are wanting to be All Blacks, the way they've been playing, the opportunity to go to a World Cup and represent their nations, yeah, hugely motivating. So I think the drive and the legacy and the specialness of the jersey is still hugely present.
Well, here he comes for the final time as a Highlander in Dunedin, Aaron Smith.
Get them their first win of the season. Leofarno! Oh, he's hooked it out to the left.
Finding a Bailey. Finding a Nuku lining himself up. Bumps a man out of the road. Back on the inside. Owanger. He could have scored it, but he gave it to Drummond.
Highlanders will reload. Fakatava goes for the shot shot. Fakatava! He scores! He has won the game for the Highlanders!
There goes the multi.
Get him off.
It doesn't get any bigger than this. The Chiefs and the Brumbies.
For the visitors to try and capitalise. On you one, holds his feet and then accelerates away. Try Chiefs.
Long time ball squirting through his hands. It's been picked up by Billy Proctor. Here's Nahoro. He's over. Hold the phone. This ain't over. Heem again, driving them back inside the 20. Here comes Telia. He's got four. He's got four.
Round 14 of Super Rugby Pacific, all thanks to Nurofen, available at Chemist Warehouse. Can we just go back to what was the moment of the weekend? Sport at its absolute finest. Folau Fakatava scoring to keep the Highlanders alive, but the successor to Aaron Smith doing that in style at the end, Jeff.
We're coming for you, you Blues. We're coming for you, Blues. It was a wonderful moment. It was amazing.
Nothing better than that.
It was. Look, it was a really, really good crowd down at Forsyth Bar Stadium. Up until that point, I was fairly frustrated. I won't lie, because the Highlanders and the Reds both admitted they didn't play very well. Clark Dermody said they were terrible, but in terms of a moment...
All was forgotten, right?
All was forgotten. Oh, maybe not quite forgotten. Clark Dermody hadn't forgotten it afterwards, after the game, but it was great for Aaron Smith.
Oh.
It was a remarkable turnaround in the game. Beautiful moment, beautiful to have been there.
Legend of the Highlanders.
Look, the most influential Highlander since professional rugby started. He's led and changed the script for the Highlanders, led them to a title in 2015. I think he and Ben Smith created something that will hopefully last forever down in Dunedin.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was how it should be. I think he deserves it. He's been a loyal Highlander, and that's all he asked for, right? He's always been that he wouldn't have wanted the attention too much, but he said, I just want to win. So he's pretty happy to get it. Not that easy with the Highlanders at the moment.
That's right.
Yeah, we're
coming to Eden Park on Friday night.
Little
Wager.
bottle of wine on this one?
Well, absolutely.
Beautiful.
What, we get a bonus point?
Oh, yeah.
He knows you're going away, so he'll never pay you, mate, so don't worry.
OK, well, the Highlanders aren't quite in the 8 just yet, Jeff. Let's take a look.
No, they are.
Oh, they are in the 8.
They're in
but
the 8. Don't you dare take them out of the 8.
Look at this. The Chiefs, Mills, they are top of the table with a game to spare. They cannot be beaten on 54 points, so they'll probably send a C or a D team to Perth to take on the Force, send all their All Blacks home, rest them before coming to Hamilton, which may mean the Highlanders miss out on the playoffs. But let's take a look at the bottom half of the competition. Highlanders currently sitting in 8th. The Force, the Drua and the Rebels can all make the 8, potentially.
The Highlanders still need a number of things to go their way. And I would be disappointed if the Chiefs didn't send their very best side to Perth. Show some respect for the competition and your number one team to get on the plane and play. No,
I think they will.
Do that.
I think they will.
No, they won't.
I think they will.
Well, then they play the Highlanders round 1. Would you rather play the Highlanders or the Drua or the Force?
The Chiefs will want to win. I reckon they weren't happy resting 2 weeks ago. They'll go to Perth, they'll take their full side, and they'll get some momentum, which I keep talking about. No.
He knows.
There's
He knows.
no way.
They're
He
dropping
knows.
that game,
Mills
Mills?
knows.
I don't
Talk to
know.
Mills.
I don't. Why would you send them up there? It's like a 20-hour, actually 6-hour
Come
flight.
back to
isn't it?
Hamilton.
To come back, but they've earned that. They've earned that now. They've gone up to Canberra. They've beat the Brumbies, and send those guys back now. Have a week off, and then possibly play the Highlanders.
Yep. Possibly play the Highlanders or possibly play one of those Australian sides. This is what the playoffs, the first round of the playoffs, the quarterfinals would look like, judging by the table
So you're
today,
saying the
Jeff.
Chiefs? You're saying the Chiefs send their second side and still win?
I don't know if they win.
The Force.
The Force at home are good.
The Force
They're
are
a good
Played
side.
really well
Yeah.
and well
Well
coached.
coached.
They're well coached,
Well
right?
coached.
Yeah,
Well
really well
drilled.
coached. Look, the Rebels on Friday night, they take on the Brumbies, so they'll put it in their own hands as well, right?
The
Brumbies
Rebels won't beat the Brumbies. Forget it.
No, that's possible.
Forget it.
Okay, good, because then that means the Rebels are out of the conversation.
Yeah.
That's another one gone. But Fiji and Drua have got the Reds.
At
So
home.
the Reds at home.
The Drua win.
At home.
So this is so to
Drua
all
win.
of those people.
I'm
out
telling
there-
you the results.
So all I'll say about this is right. A lot of people have talked about the fact that there's too many teams in the playoffs, right? Right?
No.
If we didn't
That
have,
was me.
Or was that you? That was you. Hold on. But if we didn't have the top 8, all right, the top 6 would already be decided, and this would matter. It matters now. Every single game is important this
No,
weekend.
I think
What
you've
if
got
the
to have a
Highlanders beat the
premiership. You've got to
Not what if,
what the
when.
first and second get for winning. They should have a week off.
Well, they get to play 7 and 8.
Doesn't
Teams have
matter.
got a
If the
losing
competition's any good, it doesn't matter. You've got to have what do they call it in league, Millsy? A premiership, like a minor premier.
Yeah.
If the Highlanders beat the Blues, though, it doesn't matter, does it?
doesn't
They're
matter.
in the 8. So that's what they need to do. Control their destiny, beat the Blues and
They
Auckland.
won't. I'm telling you the results, so work it out. The Drua win, so that puts the Reds out. The Chiefs win, so that puts the Force out. But they've got to send a decent side, right? Highlanders lose, so tell me the top.
The Highlanders, if they get a bonus
The
point,
Drua
still
go
won't
in.
make it. They still won't make
The
it.
Drua go in. That's the thing.
Which, to be fair, we want New Zealand teams to make it. But if the Drua were to make their first quarterfinal in their second year, it would be, like you say, a romantic story, JK.
Beautiful.
It would be a
Love it.
beautiful story.
Yeah.
But they'd be coming to Hamilton to
And
play
also,
the Chiefs.
also a message for Moana to take the side back to the Pacific Islands because it's really hard to win up there. You guys went up there and you were struggling
They
commentator.
almost beat the Drua on the weekend. 1 point in it.
Well, yeah, it was close. I mean, but I'd rather be talking about the makeup of home finals than sort of teams at the bottom of the table trying to scrape in at 7th and 8th, wouldn't you?
We'll take a look at what the semi-finals are going to look like. Crusaders and Chiefs most likely at home in the second week of the playoffs, Jeff. That's what it's shaping up to be, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it's shaping up to be. I think right now, though, let's be honest, there's only 2 teams that can win this competition.
Yep.
The way that they're playing, the quality of the rugby that they're playing, the Crusaders have found their gear. They're timing their run, and the Chiefs are clearly the top side in this competition.
Weren't you at Eden Park last
I
night?
was at Eden Park, and neither team was that good.
Did you see the rain come
Neither
down? Are you
team was
kidding?
that good.
Did
Oh,
you
a
see
little
Mark
bit of
Talia?
rain. Hold on, I remember watching the Chiefs in Hamilton in the rain, and they were remarkable.
you are kidding yourself.
I'm not kidding myself.
The Blues,
100%.
they're on a run, mate. Like,
So you're going to go to Christchurch
exactly, that's what
and
we
beat
want
the
to do.
Crusaders.
We
That's
wanted
what
to
you
make
want
it
to do.
hard. Exactly.
Oh, well, yeah. So back-to-back weeks beating the Crusaders and the Chiefs. Good luck. Good luck with that.
We'll need it, but we'll do it.
What was it that you didn't enjoy? Not that you didn't enjoy, but that you weren't convinced about the Blues and the Hurricanes compared to the top 2 teams in the competition
Look, if
now?
Mark Talia doesn't have the game of his life, what sort of contest have we got? The fact that if you think about Geordie Barrett actually, if he kicked well in the game, we had a different contest. That's an area we haven't even talked about in terms of goal kicking. I mean, the Hurricanes would have left Eden Park going, we played really badly. We couldn't win a line-out. They couldn't win a line-out. They couldn't get their game going. If these kicks go over, they'd probably win this game.
What if Hoskins Tutu scores that try?
What's that?
What if? Forget the what ifs. We're winning. We're on a roll.
Hold on, I've
we're there.
never seen a game with as many soft tries in my life. I mean, we saw, I don't know what studs the Hurricanes had in their boots, but how many times are they falling over in front of people? 3 people just waved Mark Talia through. That's not quality
That was
rugby.
pace, mate.
Hey, I'm sorry, but that's not good enough
I
to
agree
win a
with you.
Super Rugby
I
title.
think the 2 teams to beat are the Crusaders, which they have found their gear. I'm hoping that the Blues will get there. They still haven't found their rhythm, and I think having Bowden back. Hopefully this week, and if they can win convincingly and also with a skill set.
I do not disagree, guys, but I think there's 3 teams, and I think the Blues on their day are going to be hard to beat. Do they have to do the hard pathway? Yeah, but in the finals, these 3 teams, I reckon, are way ahead of the others. Now, the Brumbies are probably there or thereabouts. So if you have to go over there, it's difficult. But if they're not, I also think you've got to include the Blues in that conversation.
Yeah, but you are a Blues man, JK.
Yeah, I'm trying to be objective, though. I'm trying to be objective about it.
On proven ability and what they did last year.
The Hurricanes
you
are
have
a good
to respect
side.
what they did last year.
The Hurricanes are a good side. They dominated them in the first half. The Hurricanes, it wasn't our fault.
Who are you starting at 10 this week?
This week?
This week against the Highlanders, going into the playoffs. Beauden Barrett, not Stephen Perifeta?
No, Beauden Barrett.
So Beauden, who's playing fullback?
Perifeta.
Okay, so that's your combination, because that, to me, is the only chance those 2 guys... Zane Sullivan's been very good, but your only chance is for those 2 playmakers to come into form and come into form incredibly quickly to have any chance.
We can't forget as well, they're without Dalton Papali'i for the next game. He'll be back for...
Chote's been really good.
He has.
But outstanding.
They're missing their leader, aren't they? He'll be back for the first round of the playoffs. We're not writing them out, JK. We're not saying that at all. Time now to do our Form 15 from round 14. This time it was picked by a former Wallaby, a Wallabies legend actually, Tim Horan. And this is who he selected in his Form 15. In the front row, Aidan Ross, Samisoni Tokiaho and Jermaine Ainsley. New look front row. Patrick Tuipolotu has been named alongside Sam Whitelock in his return from injury. Artie Sarver at 6, he's making up the rules like you tend to do, Jeff, and just trying to put the best players on the paddock. Sam Cane and Luke Jacobson. Aaron Smith, who played out of his skin in his final game down in Dunedin again, and Richie Mo'unga at 9 and 10. Geordie Barrett, Alex Nankervis, of course, who's heading offshore next year, and his back 3, Caleb Clark, Mark Tellier and Fergus Burke. If you need convincing, this is why, from Tim Horan.
Hi team, yeah, thanks very much for the opportunity to select the Form All Black team of the weekend. You got an Aussie doing it, so a bit of different flavour. But also the Aussie teams didn't perform that well, did they, this weekend? Of course, the Reds, the Waratahs and the Brumbies going down to Kiwi teams. And, yeah, difficult weekend for us. But might pick out a couple of players that I selected in this Form 15 for the weekend. Luke Jacobson, wasn't he great for the Chiefs? One of the best games of the year for him in the number 8 jersey for the Chiefs. Defensively outstanding, but his metres gained and his post-contact metres outstanding. Also at number 9, Aaron Smith, one of my favourite players in New Zealand, if you can have a favourite player in New Zealand. What a performance from him to get his Highlanders team over the line right at the end against the Queensland Reds. And then you probably a couple other players. Alex Nankervis, I thought, was outstanding for the Chiefs. His defence, the way he moved up quickly to shut down the Brumbies attack out wide, special from him. And also Fergus Burke for the Crusaders at 15. Really good performance from him. Obviously a stacked back line, and I thought Fergus Burke, one of his better performances for the Crusaders. So, yeah, form team, you're coming together at the right time of the season, back into the season. Of course, 1 round to go until we climb into finals. So hopefully there's a few Aussie teams in that top 8 come 7 days' time. So, but happy to come back on in a few weeks' time and maybe select the real All Blacks team to play the Wallabies in the Bledisloe Cup, and I reckon I could pick a team to give the Aussies a chance. Go well, guys.
What a shocker.
What do you
he
reckon?
can find a Wallaby team to beat the All Blacks.
Well, they'll be able to find 15 players, won't they? But what do you think of his Form 15?
They'll be good. The Wallabies will be just fine. They'll be a really competitive side with Eddie Jones. I like this. A couple of real key standouts for me. How good is Sam Whitelock? How good is he to come back and hardly have played
80 minutes
this season? No problems at all. Yep. He never sees his number put up. Scott Robertson, he knows he can rely on this guy. He's critical to our chances in a Rugby World Cup.
And to the Crusaders.
On the Crusaders, absolutely. They need him. He's just a professional. He's one of our greats of our game.
I thought Geordie,
one of our greatest ever players.
I thought Geordie had a bit of an off night for his level, and I saw him. I didn't speak to him or anything, but I saw him get off the field pretty quick. Yeah. And I thought about when I used to play badly, I just wanted to get out of there. But, you know, I thought he had an off night. I thought Patrick put his hand up for the next level. I know I'm really interested about the locking discussion going forward. I thought Paddy was really... Because I thought the Hurricanes came out and bashed people Mills, and he stepped up physically last night, I thought. So I thought that was interesting.
He looked quicker off the ground. He looked as though he's in really good condition for me, Mills. And look, when he's getting up and contesting at line-out time, now the Hurricanes line-out was dysfunctional, but when he's doing that, that's something I haven't seen out of his game a lot, is stealing line-out pill. He looked great.
Yeah, and I love the way he flooded those inside channels as well. It's like it really suited the weather really suited his game. So we got amongst it, got the physical, and he's been slowly getting better and better. So he had a wonderful game.
What about how he's put Ardie Savea in that 6? JK, that man last night and what he did. But he was unbelievable on the field, wasn't he, Ardie
Timmy,
Savea?
you're kidding yourself, son. Best 8 in the world. Never put him at 6.
There's some really good 8s around the world. We shouldn't say that very quickly. Look, he hasn't had a stronger season yet. He's started to show some signs in the last couple of games, dominant against the Moana Pacifica and Wellington, but last night he went to the well. He was good.
He was quiet in that first half. You've got to remember, he hardly sort of touched the ball, but where he's massive is those big moments.
Yeah.
You know, he comes up with these, you know, you think he's having a quiet game, then bang, another repeated effort and this and that. But it makes a massive difference in terms. So when you look at the black jersey, he's just going to be huge.
The two positions there, Ainsley and Ross, the two props that he noticed,
Thanks.
because clearly prop is an area right now with all of the injuries that the All Blacks are facing. Think you've lost Bauer already. Moody is going to be touch and go in terms of a Rugby World Cup, as is Fletcher Newell. Who else have they lost? There's someone else who's been down.
What's the corridor?
Yes,
Oi,
JK,
here
the
we
Pope
go.
is back.
Here we
Australian passport.
Well, it's eligible, yeah. And I had
You don't think Eddie Jones has rung him? Eddie, I know you rung him.
Maybe. Look, I think he's made such big strides here. I'd be surprised if he's not in a conversation for the next level. For me.
So, Mills, what do you do there? Like, you just sign him for New Zealand Rugby?
Well, it depends where he wants to play for. He's obviously got dual eligibility. But the stuff that he's doing there, he was doing in like round 2 against the Crusaders in Melbourne. Like when he was scrummaging, he was dominating actually Moody. I was like, man. But he's done that consistency in a team, Goldie, that have struggled this year.
Yeah, it's hard to stand out
If I know
sometimes. But in
Eddie Jones
saying
would be
that, the
wearing
forward pack for the Highlanders has actually operated not too bad. So I just think, once again, the areas of concern, and we've got players and options, but clearly there's not a lot of experience when you're talking about an Ainsley and Ross. But for Tim Horan, he saw enough to have them in that conversation.
I've got him in my team.
36.
Ainsley.
Hey, 36.
Ainsley.
Yeah.
One more Highlander wouldn't go amiss.
He'll be wearing gold, mate, by the end of the year.
One
If I
more
know Eddie Jones.
Oh, yeah.
If I know Eddie Jones, Voce di Corridoio. There you go.
Well, Levi Amour won't be, will he? He's signed for the Crusaders. That news has been confirmed. But someone who's sticking with New Zealand, All Blacks and Black Ferns, he's the new performance coach. It's Wayne Smith. We've got a beautiful story right after the break.
It was really difficult standing up there when you're looking at 24 Centurions on the wall. It's hard to explain the emotion. You know, I'm just a coach. Those guys played 100 games, led the team through thick and thin, and you're so reliant on so many factors. You have staff helping you, you have players who you're not sure who they are or what they're going to be, and then you see them metamorphose into something special. And it's never one person, you know, it's everyone, and it's diversity of opinions, different perspectives that come up with different solutions that help you through your career. Look, I was a young coach, I was 39 years of age. The job was fraught with danger. You know, we could have quite easily have failed straight away and got the sack, and that would have been the end of my career. But we took a lot of chances. Bert and I put together a concept of Henry V. We put this video together, and it was the first meeting I had with the team was showing that video with hunters and collectors, Holy Grail booming out. Had images of some of the players that we thought were going to be greats of the game, the Toddy Blackaders, Mertz, Marshy, Mark Mayer-Hoffler, guys like that, and finished with the Henry V Bellavagen Call speech, which became a fundamental creed for us for the next couple of years as Crusaders, and one that we live by. If you don't know where you're from, who you are, and who you want to be, then the coaching means nothing.
Smithy's an absolute icon and treasure of our game in the coaching space, and someone that we're delighted can keep having an involvement in the game and support what is a new and exciting group of coaches coming through from 2024 onwards. We're delighted he'll stay involved and keep adding a huge amount of value, massive impact anywhere he goes in the game, and we're just delighted he's with us.
I've been involved with New Zealand Rugby since probably 79 as either a player or a coach or a mentor or a CEO at Hawke's Bay. It's had a huge involvement. So it's been my life, and it sounds like it's going to continue for a wee bit longer.
Oh, it's an absolutely brilliant moment, isn't it? Wayne Smith, 66 years young, that'll still be involved in the Black Ferns and All Blacks after 45 years of coaching. JK, tell us why we need this man.
He's got great EQ, got great IQ. He's really, really technical, right? And he creates a fantastic culture, and he's a great man. Like, there's not many coaches around the world that can have all those things. For me, he's the Sir Brian Lahore of the present time, and just having him in the environment, he won't be scared to tell people, Mills, if he thinks they're off track technically or tactically, but that's why he is the complete package.
Yeah, and he's not also scared to take on feedback. You know, when you go and you have a coach and you've got respect for them and you think, oh, he wants upfront conversations, and you don't have to worry about being dropped either, regardless of whether you played 100 tests or one test. He's great at adapting, prioritising things. I've sat in a meeting, coaches meeting with him, where they're prioritising the week, and they've constantly cut his time back from going out to the field, but he prioritises things and gets it right on point as well. So he's magic. And you've got to take your head off to his lovely wife, because Trish is fantastic.
Yeah, Trish is amazing.
They're an awesome family.
You started with one hand, you went on the other hand. Look, there's so many attributes we know about Wayne Smith. I had the pleasure of playing for him. He made me a better player and put me in an environment where I could thrive and be the best I could possibly be. Why is this important? Because coaching is clearly an issue right now, because we can't find Super Rugby coaches. We're bringing people from left, right and centre. Everyone's fighting over Clark Laidlaw, who's clearly an outstanding coach, coaching the New Zealand Sevens team to great success. But everyone's going after him. This is why it's important, because all of a sudden now we've got that IQ, that EQ, that knowledge of sharing around our coaches, everything we know around the game. So that's what the All Black coaches and the Black Ferns are going to get. It now gives New Zealand Rugby a challenge for me. They've got 4 years. That's what they've signed Scott Robertson and that team for. They've got 4 years to get everyone else up to speed in the professional game. And the next thing, it's time to get the provincial unions, we've talked about, back on track. And them developing coaches, and what they should be doing, developing their coaches in the amateur game. Referee support. Stop spending money on NPC teams. $1.5 to $2.5 million. How about you take $1 million of that and start being help coaches, start referees, clubs and schools, competitions, JK, the things that need support. Why have we got people who can't catch and pass and tackle and clean out? Because we're not feeding the information down. The Super Rugby coaches have got to get together with their professional level, but on the amateur level, I'm sorry, I went and watched the game the other day, right? 25 penalties for 25 high tackles from kids. Now, yes, they've changed the law, but these kids don't know how to tackle. They don't know how to catch and pass, and you wonder why we watch our professionals and they're not good enough at it. It's time to help our coaches, and we've got to spend money. Get RDOs back out there. I'm sorry, I've had enough. No, I've had enough of this provincial union.
It's only sure, mate.
It's everywhere.
No, but the trouble is, and I think there needs to be a little bit of a look at where the money's being spent. We cannot have the investment and not invest in the community. When I talk about community, it's investment in rugby clubs to make them a cultural centre. It's investing in young coaches so they can coach our youngsters, and they will come out at the top. If we're going to spend an extra $1 million on a provincial side, we are wasting our money.
It's not
Let it come through. Well, it needs to be a semi-professional competition.
But you don't need to spend a couple of $1 million when you've got clubs and schools struggling to get the expertise you need and to get the people.
The trouble is, Goldie, is our constitution. So the NPC guys, they hold the vote, mate.
They may do.
And until we change the constitution,
take responsibility.
Isn't it funny though that they're saying exactly the same thing to the NZR about pumping money into the provincial union, and then they're basically not even feeding it down. So it needs to happen. I totally agree. They need to come together and sort that.
Coaching is, that's where you're developing young men. You're setting cultures. You're giving them the best of the sport and giving them the ability to succeed. And I'll say this, if you teach them the fundamentals, and Eddie Jones is massive on this. You don't start talking in pods and systems and you run, you catch, you pass, you keep your head up and you play. I go and watch club teams, school teams, all of a sudden they're copying Super Rugby sides. They can't see space, they can't catch past them. One thing they can't do is they can't tackle. You wonder why you get to a point that you stop playing the game, you can't tackle, you don't play rugby. Well, we did, but not now.
Well, judging by everything you three have just said, it's absolutely brilliant to have Wayne Smith for the next 4 years. Congratulations to Wayne, to Todd Blackadder and Justin Marshall as well for being inducted into the Crusaders Hall of Fame. Before we go, yes or no, do the Highlanders make the 8?
No.
No.
Don't even ask him.
I know, I'm not asking him.
Not in doubt.
I'm not asking him.
Don't even ask him.
It's the Drua.
Coming.
It's the draw or the force to lose, right?
Draw for me.
Are you leaving town again?
Force for you, probably.
Actually, that's right. That's right. You're not even coming to Eden Park on Friday. Where are you going?
I'll be there, mate.
No, you will not.
I'll be there from distance.
Oh, from a distance. You're...
Sorry, that was the last bomb that I'll drop. These three will keep arguing off here. That is us done and dusted, but the Highlanders will want to come up and beat the Blues in Auckland, won't they? They'll want to do that for Aaron Smith and their other departing players to make sure they get in the top 8. Sit back and enjoy this to one of the greatest Highlanders of all time.
And they've scored. It's Aaron Smith.
Aaron Smith. Shot. Oh, yes. Can you believe it?
This town will love you if you work hard and play hard and don't ever give up.
Smith's going to bang it into touch.
Everyone was talking about we're a bunch of nobodies and that's just fuel, mate. You know, as a player, someone says you can't do something, all you want to do is do it.
For the Highlanders, not only for Manawatu, not only for the All Blacks, but for World Rugby, an absolute legend, Aaron Smith.